Good evening, everybody, and welcome to January's Masterclass with Mrs. B, your resident book guru. Hope that you are all well and keeping safe and have got through all the wonderful various weather types we've been having in the last few weeks. So welcome, as I say, welcome to January's Masterclass. I do apologise, I should have been here with you last week. But yeah, last week wasn't just didn't happen for me, so I'm here this week instead. So I'm here this evening to talk to you about making reading a daily habit. I've spoken lots about reading being really good for our mental health, helping to keep us a sense of calm, and actually that just 6 minutes a day can have that massive impact on our mental health and well-being. And a few weeks ago, I challenged people in the main group to join me on my reading challenge for this year, which is to read 12 books in 12 months. So to read a book a month. And I set a challenge and I sent out a challenge sheet. So I thought this evening in the masterclass, I'd talk about ways that we can make that reading a consistent habit so that you can achieve that one book a month, if not more. Okay, because I think at the moment nowadays our lives are so busy, they've gone back, if you think COVID times, life was very much slower. We've gone back to a very fast-paced world now, and we have a lot of responsibilities. We have work, family, relationships. We have lots and lots of things we have to try and cram into our lives, day to day, week to week. And it's really hard to find that little bit of time, isn't it? That little bit of me time, that's like our little bit of oasis just for us to switch off, unwind, let go of that daily grind, let go of those things that are keeping us busy every single day. We also know that for centuries, books have been a sanctuary. Books are a place where you can, venture off to different worlds without even leaving your armchair or wherever you choose to do your reading. It's that gateway to other worlds. It's the opportunity to walk in someone else's shoes, and a time for us to be still and to read and to calm. Now, so this masterclass is designed for all of us in mind, all of us who want to prioritize self-care, but actually are just finding it, or can potentially find it difficult to carve out the time to be able to do that. And, when I say about reading consistently and making reading a daily habit, it isn't just about finishing a book. It's about creating a habit that almost nurtures our soul, sparks our imagination and helps us disconnect from all that stress and things that are going on around us. So whether you're looking to get into a gripping novel, get into somebody's memoir, autobiography, self-help book, or you just simply want to find a quiet moment in your day, then this masterclass is for you. And it's going to guide you through 5 strategies that can help you make reading a consistent and joyful part of your life and your day. So we're going to look at how we can turn reading into a bit of an escape for you, carve out that little bit of time where you can have that little bit of self time, a little bit of me time, and you can carve out that time for yourselves and create a habit that feeds your mind as well and refreshes your spirit too. So are we ready to take this journey and find out some 5 tips to help you build that daily habit? Are you ready to turn the page? Let's begin. So first up, I would say actually try and create yourselves a dedicated reading routine. Now, as I've just said, that's really, really easy for me to say. It's quite difficult to do in practice because, we have so many things that we try and fit into our days. So we're going to try and integrate reading into our daily schedule. So it could be set a time. So choose a time that aligns with your routine. So where's it going to fit in? Could it be, when you get up in the morning before everybody else in the house wakes and you make that first cup of coffee, that first cup of tea? Is that the time you could sit down and read just for 5-10 minutes? Is it during your lunch break at work? You sit and read, you're sitting in your lunch. Can you, is that the time for you to read? Maybe you go and sit somewhere else at lunchtime, maybe in the car, or go for a walk and you sit in a park, or is that a time when you could actually read as well? Or maybe you want to make your reading that 5-10 minutes when you get into bed just before you go to sleep. And they do say that actually reading before going to sleep actually helps part of that sleep routine. If we think about children with their bedtime routine and how having that bedtime story tells the brain that it's that time to start getting ready to go to sleep. So it might be that you decide that's what you want to create for yourself. Maybe pair it with an existing habit that you already have. So if you've already got a habit, then if you put the reading with it, it can potentially be more likely to happen. So it could be maybe read after you brush your teeth in the morning, or at night, or maybe during your morning coffee, make that tea, whatever your drink is, and sit down and have what I call a cup of coffee read or a cup of tea read. Okay, so the time it takes you to drink your tea or coffee is the amount of time that you could read. Okay. And as I've said all the way through there, 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes maximum. Start small. Don't think you've got to read for absolutely ages. I know it's quite easy when you get hooked into a book that you can read and read and read. That's great. And if you can have that time for you to do that, that is absolutely brilliant. But if you don't, and you are struggling to find that little bit of you time during the day, then just go for that 10-15 minutes. So think about a time when you could fit your reading in. See if you compare it with an existing habit and start small. So that's the first tip to help you, is actually find that time when you could have as part of your reading routine. So that's going to help you make that consistent and make it a daily habit. Now, the other next thing is, and this might seem really quite obvious, but choose books that you actually want to read. Reading should be enjoyable. Shouldn't be a chore. And it's just like with children, you get the right material, it will keep you motivated. So follow your interest, pick genres or topics that excite you. I like murder mysteries, and I pick a lot of those to read. I read other things as well, but those are my go-tos. It could be fiction, memoir, self-development, non-fiction, it could be information books. Pick what interests you. Experiment with formats. If you don't like a written book, if you find it difficult to hold an actual book, try an audiobook, try an ebook. Or, if you find that traditional text it can be overwhelming, try a graphic novel. Look for ways that can actually get you into and interested and motivated into reading. And if you get a book and it's not interesting, don't feel obliged to finish it. Okay? If you're not enjoying it, move on to something better. So far, we've thought about getting a dedicated time for reading, thinking about times in our day when we could actually have that time to read. And we've thought about actually choosing books we actually want to read, following our interests, experimenting with formats, and not reading those uninteresting books. Then another thing to think about, another top tip when you're trying to work, get your reading to be those daily consistent habit, is actually minimize the distractions around you. So have an environment that supports focused reading. So designate yourself a reading space. Find a quiet, comfortable spot that's free from the TV, free from clutter, a place where you can sit, be calm, and enjoy your reading. If you're like me, I can't leave my phone alone. Well, I can, but then after about 5-10 minutes, I'm grabbing it to see, has somebody messaged me? Have I got any notifications? So put your phone on airplane mode, or, switch it off, or, switch the notifications off, whatever you need to do so that you're not tempted to grab your phone whilst you're reading. And, tell people you're reading. This is my time to read. I don't want to be interrupted. Maybe if you've got a family, and maybe if you've got children who are at the age of exploring books independently and reading independently, maybe set it as a reading time for all of you so that you all sit down to read at the same time. That might be quite tricky, but it could be actually that it could be like just 10 minutes when you come in from the school run, 10 minutes after tea. That could be a way that would work for you and your family. Also means that your children are getting a dedicated reading time each day as well. And it doesn't have to be their school reading book, because it could be anything they read. We were actually trying to promote reading for pleasure. So don't think it has to be their school reading book all the time. I know that's important, but equally, we want them to actually enjoy a whole range of books and to keep wanting to read once they've learned to read. Okay, school reading books that you get sent home with, they're there to help children learn to read, but we want them to read for pleasure. I'm digressing, I'm going into children's reading, but I just think maybe, that boundary, that time that you're all going to sit down to read could help everybody in your family. Number 4, maybe join a reading community. Find a book club. It could be a book club that's local, it could be online. I run a book club through Mrs. B's Book Nook. So if you'd like to join our book club, we read some of the young adult fiction, and they are meaty texts. They are really, really great texts to read, cover a whole range of topics and themes. So if you want to join a book club, um we send it out, we meet online, we have like little messenger chats, we have events to discuss the book, but we do it online and the books are sent out to you. um you know find a social media group, come and join us in Mrs. B's Book Nook, chatting here, chatting there, Escape and Unwind group about the books that we're reading and the posts that I put up every week for you to share your books. Find a friend, somebody who wants to read the same book as you, and do a buddy read. Read it at the same time and share what you found out from the book, share your insights. And then tip number 5. So far, just to recap before I go to tip number 5, find that reading time that you can call your time. Okay. Choose the books that you actually want to read. Don't forget, drop those uninteresting books. Don't feel you have to finish a book once you've started it. If you're not enjoying it, don't try and carry on. Set realistic reading goal. Oh, sorry, that's not that one. That was the one that's the one we're actually talking about. Minimize distractions. So find yourself a reading space, join a reading community, find that book club, find that person who wants to read the same book as you, read at the same time, share your insights. And another one, which is another good thing about making reading consistent or building more reading into your day, is always carry a book around with you, or your ebook, whatever, for spare moments, like when you're commuting, when you wait, when you're like queuing. It could be in the bus, on the train, or you're sat waiting somewhere. Always have your book with you so that you can actually grab some extra time reading too. So, those are my top tips for helping you make reading a daily habit, and also to keep reading and to actually achieve your goals. Now, the one that I was going to say was about setting realistic reading goals, is that lots of people in the Escape and Unwind group have set themselves the target of reading 12 books in 12 months, reading a book a month. So, actually, set yourself, if you need to, set yourself some targets to actually do your reading. Are you going to have a daily, weekly target? Track your progress. We've got a little recording sheet. So if you want to join in with our reading challenge for reading 12 books in 12 months, please do pop a little comment below and I will send you over the recording sheet, your challenge sheet, that you can write your titles on. And there will be a post in the group every week, every 2 weeks, where you can share the books that you are reading and you can chat about them as well. So yeah, that'll be in the main group, in the Escape and Unwind group, by the way, not in here. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this month's masterclass. I hope that you can take one thing away from tonight's masterclass that's going to help you with your reading and helping make your reading a consistent habit. If you could pop your top takeaway from this masterclass in the comments below, and that would be absolutely great. And we can see what everybody has taken away and what everybody's going to set themselves as a little challenge to make their day reading a more consistent and more of a daily habit. So happy reading, everybody, and I will see you all in February. Bye for now.